Darlene Breckenridge. Here. Dennis M. Clark.
Here.
Jerry Ann Evans.
Here.
John R. Figer.
Here.
Ronnie Jack.
Here.
Takes us to the minutes of the December 19, 2016 regular session. There are no additions or corrections. We'll move
Someone, sorry.
and second. Discussions. Seeing there is none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed?
I abstain.
Four, one abstention. Next item on the agenda is public participation. Individuals addressing the council are asked to step to the microphone, clearly state your name and address before speaking. You have a 5-minute time limit. There's a piece of paper there, if you want to put your name and address on as well.
John Breckenridge, Cameron, Missouri. Congratulations to City Manager Mark Gaw, Mayor Jerry Ann Evans, Councilman Dennis Clark, Councilman Ronnie Jack on raiding the Reserve Electrical Fund of $2.28 million to get into the business of land speculation. This land deal, in my opinion, continues the shady, sleazy pattern of circumventing elections that is the sad history of this economic dream team. This is nothing more than a poke in the eye or political retribution for the voters rejecting the EDOC sales tax. You have set up a bogus charlatan lie of expanding the electrical department as your excuse for moving forward. How can anyone in this community feel comfortable with the budget or financials? This is a huge financial red flag that shows the corruption of power you have to move money from Peter to pay Paul. In the private sector, it would be called bank fraud. But in Cameron City Hall, it's just business as usual. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak?
Gary Summers, 1016 West 4th Street in Cameron. I had no intention of speaking tonight, but I guess I feel like, as a citizen, I applaud you for what you did. I can't imagine that the purchase that you made, the land purchase, is anything but good for the city. I understand that we're taking reserve funds to do it. At the same time, it's an asset that if you needed to dispose of, put money back in reserves for any reason at all, it can be done. I can't imagine that anybody can think that it's anything but good for the community, and in the long run, long term, I think we'll all see that happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak? Okay, that takes us to the city manager's report, Mark.
Staff met with the animal shelter on the design on December 20th, and the purpose was to go over all preliminary things to kind of make the design go a little more efficiently and less costly, we know ahead of time. Some of the things to look out for with the design of the shelter. That's going, should go pretty well. There are a few issues that we'll want to make some changes in design construction, for construction that will maybe alleviate some problems down the road. On our sewer projects, the sewer pipelining should be complete or close to complete in the F0001 sub-basin. We submitted the stuff for the paperwork for the process of renewing our plant permit. That'd be a 5-year permit on this. They're on a 5-year cycle. Haven't, don't know what the state is going to do yet for disinfection, but we'll be, Bert and Zach will be working on that, so it's something we want to pay close attention to. Start Smart Grant, I believe everything was submitted on that, so that's good. I think everything was in on time and all that was submitted for the Head Start deal. So hopefully we'll hear some good news on that in the near future. Snow and ice treatment, this was, that last storm we had was very low in the amount of precipitation, but the way it came down was used a lot of salt materials. In the past, we have considered increasing our salt storage. That's always a good idea because in the wintertime, it's always hard to get. And when the storm is widespread, it goes across other states, there's going to be demand on salt. That's just every year. So they cannot guarantee delivery, and they never will, the way things are right now. So down the road, we'll want to look at doing that. We normally can get by, but it can get a little tight at times. So it's just something, it's not that expensive to build additional storage. If it was, it might be a little different, but it's probably a good thing to be looking at. So we'll continue to keep that on the radar screen. The dialysis addition to the hospital, staff met with the architect for the project. They're pretty much ready to go now and ready to break ground, so that'll be taking off here pretty soon. It's going to be a nice addition to the hospital. It's not large enough in square footage to require a lot of P&C review, so they're ready to go, and that's about all I have for right now.
You have questions or comments?
Mark, the only question I have is just on the sewer project. I'm assuming that, they require the disinfectant. It says it could be fairly expensive. Do we have any idea on a cost? And if so, where would those funds come from exactly?
My last thought was about $1 million to do disinfection. It will probably take another, we'll have to borrow money, more than likely. We will probably, though, if that's required, they will give us so much time to do that. They may give us a couple of years, they may give us a 5-year cycle, depends on what they want to do. That way we would incorporate that with any other capital improvements, so that we're not long after, try to keep it in one issue and do as little as possible as far as borrowing. So, and they may not require it this time. Things are constantly changing in Washington, so we'll see. They've changed the stream classifications, though, not for the better. So we'll just see how things go. And with the recent change now in Washington, with I don't know whether the EPA will undergo any changes, but it's still hanging out there right now. So we'll just have to see what happens.
Okay, thank you.
Anything further from that? That takes us to unfinished business. We have a second reading on Bill 2016-51, which is funded legal. We're going to move forward to the discussion regarding the meaning of the pedestrian bridge and trail at Sunrise Lake.
Yeah, sure. I think this came about because of just a suggestion from last time for me. I'd really like to honor our veterans with naming the park out there Purple Heart Park. I think it would be a pretty significant tool for marketing. If we're going to have this out there, we might as well actually be marketing, using it. I don't know how much business it actually brings in. I don't think anybody does, but at least at that point, maybe we could work with American Legions and other things. Maybe you can get a state sign that would say Purple Heart Park. But also, while we're at it, I've got a couple of other ideas. With the trail, I'd like to call it Blue Trail. And that's for our fine officers out there that are, quite honestly, they're under attack, our police officers at every venue. And I'd love to have the trail itself named after them as a thank you. And then honor a bridge. If we're gonna sit there and build a bridge, then let's go ahead and give it as an honor to all of those that have served. Whether it's EMTs, whether it's police, whether it's military. So those are just my suggestions. I realize other people have great ideas too, but it's just something that has really been laid on my heart lately for those folks. So anyway.
What else are under that?
I guess the motion would be to vote for the names. Is that?
We could do that, or we could send it up as a resolution for the next council meeting,
Okay.
specifically marking out what the names are for each. So that'd be a little bit more clear and better for the minutes, I assume.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine with me. Thank you.
Does anybody want to add anything before we move on? All right. That takes us to new business. We have a first reading on Bill 2017-1.
Bill 2017-1, an ordinance authorizing a management agreement for the Cameron Aquatic Facility by and between the City of Cameron, Clinton, and DeKalb Counties, Missouri, the Cameron Park Board, and Cameron Regional YMCA.
I'll entertain a motion to pass Bill 2017-1 on first reading only.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion?
You should be here, but this agreement is basically the same we've done every year. I don't know if any changes to that. It looks exactly the same to me. $15,000 for running from May to September. The conditions are in the agreement itself. That's about all I had. This week. Any other questions as far as?
I think you're right, though. I think I've done that park board meeting, and I'm pretty sure that everything, I think they said they did, make it exactly the same. Very, very, very similar.
If there's any challenges, it's just the first reading, so we can clean it up next time.
Anything further? All right, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5 in favor, 0 opposed. Next item on the agenda, we have a resolution 2017-1.
Resolution 2017-1, a resolution for the City of Cameron, Clinton, and DeKalb Counties, Missouri, to accept a proposal for an Altac DB37 hydraulic derrick and trailer from Altac Industries Incorporated.
I will entertain a motion to pass resolution 2017-1.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion?
Thank you, Ms. Mayor. What you guys have before you tonight is a resolution to accept Altac's bid for a track-mounted digger derrick, mostly known as a backyard unit. As most of you know, we have a large portion of our distribution system that is not located along the right-of-way, and a lot of time in places it's difficult to get a truck to. We're trying to find a way to keep our costs down and still keep reliability up. This backyard unit would allow us to access some of those hard to reach areas. Currently, what we do if we have a situation in along one of those sections, we'll try to rent a unit. It's about a 4 to 6 month wait to get a rental unit here based on demand. In case of emergency, then we're required to go to a third-party contractor or an outside contractor to get the work done. And even in that case, we're at their mercy if they don't have a machine they're waiting on renting one to. It's kind of a specialized machine, so therefore there's not a lot of rentals out there. We've talked about getting one for quite some time now. We've been looking for a used one. Like I said, just being a specialized unit, there's just not a whole lot of decent used ones out there, ones that we can get our hands We did talk to Altech about, we've been working with them for a while now. We estimated about $145,000 for one of these units. That was the number we used preparing the 2017 budget. Then once we kind of got started on this, we worked with National Joint Powers Alliance to work out a bid for the equipment. We got a bid for $134,776. And that does include, we added an additional bucket, so we have a dual bucket on it, power inverter and trailer, all comes in that price. Like I said, it is kind of a specialized unit. It will come in handy when there's need for another digger derrick, whether we're holding poles, when we're digging sewer or water, something like that. So there are multiple uses for it. But with that being said, it's obviously one piece of equipment that we hope we never have to use. So therefore, we think the life expectancy should be at least 20 years on something like this.
Any questions of that?
Yeah, I would hope you'd have to use it a lot at that price.
Again, with most of everything, we want everything to work perfectly and not have to work on anything, but unfortunately, we have to. We spend about anywhere from $15,000 to $30,000 a year on this type of maintenance. So again, the return on the investment is going to be pretty quick. The pickup will be pretty quick on something like this.
Yeah, as far as like holding poles, you have to do that quite a bit, and you have to, which doesn't take a digger derrick, it takes a derrick type truck. And if you don't have that, then we have to hire somebody to come in and help do that for us. So that's something that, we only have one, we can grab one, that's it, grab with one derrick. So that's a big help too, is when we're, have to excavate, there's poles nearby, you have to hold those in solid position. It's just too dangerous to risk having them not supported. So that's another advantage to this thing.
Well, I've got a couple questions for you. So, what is the cost to rent? Let's say we can get one. What's that end up costing?
It's usually by the month. I was thinking last year we rented it twice, and we worked a deal with Scobies to do some work while we had the unit here because they had work and we needed work. Again, we worked together to get the unit here.
Sure.
I think total cost last year was around $30,000 that we spent. And now that's not all rent on the machine, but a big portion of that is the rent on the machine.
How about the year before? Do you, by any chance, remember? So 30,000 last year, that.
I want to say it was around 15,000 the year before, but that was before me, so I have to go look and see. But it was.
Yeah.
But just looking back and talking with Jay, again, we were anywhere between the 15 and 30 mark.
Okay. I'm just curious. So if we got this, could we essentially rent it out? You're saying it's really tough to find these. Is this something, as long as we don't need it at a specific time, is that something we could rent and get some of the money back?
That is a possibility. That is definitely something we could look into, consider.
We probably want one of our people there though to make sure it's.
It'd
Well,
probably be
yeah,
we probably send our crew or something, but again, that'd be something that we want to talk with the insurance, make sure everything we were
Right.
good there, but I would not be opposed to that.
Thank you.
By the rules, the way I understand it, you can't rent it out, because they are available. From what I've seen, going to the meetings and stuff, that, it all sounds good, but if there's another available option, a city cannot go into that business and rent out a piece of equipment that is readily available. If it's an oddball piece that nobody has, so I think that's off the table.
Like I said, that'd be something I'd want to check. I'm not sure how, the word readily, I'm not sure how, yeah.
Because I've seen that question answered before, and not here, but at Jeff City, I don't think there's any possible way, not being as it's not that specialized a unit. It is special, trust me, but it's available. So I think that's out, but it's still $15,000 a year, 10 years, it's $150,000. And if it lasts for 20 years, then it starts making some money. So, I think we do probably need more, because I saw them change this pole out here, and it's amazing to watch some guys work, and I want to have all the equipment they can handle.
Any further questions or comments? We'll proceed to vote. All those in favor say aye. Opposed?
Nay.
3 in favor, 2 opposed.
Drew Davis, 5271 Southeast Lakeview Road, Cameron. After I was here to talk to the council 2 meetings ago, I convinced myself that I needed to move on to different things. The trail was going to be in my backyard, whether I wanted it or not. And the city wasn't going to agree to put a gate in the fence in the back of my property, whether I wanted one or not. But then a meeting happened a couple of weeks ago, and somebody called me after the meeting and said, Drew, you have to look at what Ronnie Jack said about you at the last city council meeting. And my first thought was, why in the world would Ronnie Jack be talking about me at a city council meeting? I've never called out Ronnie Jack. I've never had problems personally with Ronnie Jack. So I hopped on mycameranews.com and watched the I watched the video of the city council meeting. Now, Ronnie, what I heard you say was that I came to a city council meeting and offered to pay for the city's fence. That's true. That happened on May 4th. It's in the minutes. But then I heard you say, Ronnie, that I came to the next meeting and my offer changed, and instead of offering to pay for the fence, I said, no, I'm only willing to pay for a gate in the fence. And I heard you end your statement by saying Mr. Davis needs to get his story straight. So, I thought, I don't come to enough city council meetings to know precisely which meetings I attend. So I looked back for the May 18th minutes, which would have been the next meeting after I offered to pay for the fence. Because I knew I had never rescinded my offer to pay for the fence. But I thought, did something happen at that May 18th meeting that would have convinced Ronnie that I changed what I had originally offered? You can imagine in my business, Ronnie, credibility means everything. When I make an offer, people need to know that I'm going to stand by it and that I'm not going to change the terms of my offer. So, I looked at the minutes to see if anything happened. Well, there was no public participation at that meeting whatsoever. Ronnie, I wasn't at that next meeting that you said I was at. Then I looked at which council members were in attendance at the meeting. And Ronnie, you weren't even at the meeting where you said I changed my story. This is what I called you to talk about, Ronnie, when you were too busy to meet with me. I hope that you have the opportunity to apologize to me for it. But I don't want you to do it privately only. I want you to do it publicly so that everybody that saw the video of you calling me a liar can also see you apologizing for what you said. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak?
Madam Mayor, members of the council, Leslie Corey Sloan, 306 East 14th Street, Cameron. About a month ago, I was here at the council meeting and I spoke to you about some specific information that I was looking for in regards to economic development, in regards to the purchase of land, the annexation of land. I want to reiterate, I'm all for economic development in growing Cameron, as long as it's done right. Nobody's reached out to me with that data, spoken to me about that data, and I'm still without that data. If we need to go back and listen to the minutes, or look at the minutes, or listen to what was recorded on My Camera News, we can. But I'm really considering the information I asked for as far as economic feasibility study, the process you used to purchase this land, how you came about the decision. I understand some of it's under executive session, can't be discussed or disclosed publicly. I understand that. But the items that can be disclosed publicly, I would like to see. That way I can do my own analysis. So if somebody can get with me and provide me that data, I would greatly appreciate it.
With council permission, I'll be glad to meet with Mr. Sloan and get an exact list of what you want and get that for you.
It would be the information I requested at the December 5th meeting.
You went rather fast. If you wouldn't mind coming in and
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Or emailing me a list if that's more convenient.
Sure.
I'd be more than happy to get that.
I can do that, I can also dub off a copy of the tape for you, and send it to you, that we have both.
Okay, I don't have the tape, so.
I'll get that for you. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else need to speak? Okay. That takes us to miscellaneous. Barbara?
I have none.
Well, as I look out there, looking for Terry Rowe, and I don't see him yet. When we decided to, excuse me, when council ended up deciding to buy the land, my thought was, according to Terry Rowe, we should have business here. Because we bought this land that he's been promising. So for 4 years, we've paid him, we haven't had anything other than he shows up for some tax events and things like that. But we need to have Terry Romer here at every meeting. I know this is confidential information, and I'm sure nobody can see out there, but this is a report that I get, and I'm sorry, but it's ridiculous. My kids could do a better job. I want to be able to ask him questions. So I know the last time that you both said that, well, we don't, he doesn't report to us, and I get that. But by God, we pay him. And I am getting to the point to where, to me, we are throwing money at somebody that doesn't give a crud about Cameron. And I'm getting tired of it. So I would suggest whoever, his friends or buddies or whatever else, since he can always show up for anytime there's a tax event, I would suggest those same folks get him over here for the next meeting so that we can ask him some questions about what he's going to do with the land that we just purchased, the land that we have out by the airport, and the land that we have by the water. Thank you.
I have nothing.
Ryan?
I have nothing.
Carly?
I would just like to agree with John about Terry River being here and giving us reports.